Here's a riddle that might save your marriage. What do Netflix, a gym membership, and your wife's desire all have in common? Give up? They're all subscription models. And if you let your subscription lapse, you lose access. I see it all the time. Guy meets girl, guy gets girl, they say I do, and in his mind, he crossed the finish line. Mission accomplished, pop the champagne, time to coast. And then, somewhere between the mortgage and the Monday night routine, he stops doing the very thing that made her fall for him in the first place. He stops seducing her. The guy your wife fell for had an edge. He had presence. He had energy. He wasn't performing for her, but he sure as hell wasn't taking her for granted either. He was in the moment, exciting, unpredictable, raw. Put simply, you were seducing your wife. And then you got married, and without realizing it, stress and monotony crept in, logistics, chores, petty resentments, recycled conversations, and reheated leftovers. She traded her lace lingerie for beige granny panties. And you started treating stained drawstring sweatpants like formal wear. And before you knew it, your relationship, it felt less like a romance and more like two exhausted assistant managers trying to keep a failing TGI Fridays open. Here's the thing that nobody tells you. Desire isn't killed by time. It's killed by repetition. And you've been repeating yourself for years. Same morning, same conversation, same fight about the dishes, same half-hearted attempt at intimacy on Saturday night that feels more like a chore than it does like a choice. And ask yourself this, what's more common in your relationship right now, anticipation or routine? And you want it to change because you miss the spark, you miss the tension, you miss the version of her that couldn't wait to put that lingerie on. And the thing that most guys don't consider is that she misses that version of herself too. She misses feeling sexy. Even more so, she misses feeling excited by you. So, what changed? I'll tell you exactly what changed. You shifted into the past tense. You went from I'm seducing her to I seduced her. And the second that switch flipped, the dynamic, it started to change. Not because she stopped loving you, but because the tension that fed her desire quietly flatlined. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 proven secrets to flip that switch back. This isn't about tricks. It's not about cheesy lines or becoming some fake version of yourself. It's about becoming the man that your wife actually desires and respects. And you do that by changing something that most husbands completely overlook. And stick around to the end because I'm going to show you how to pinpoint the exact blind spots that might be silently killing her attraction to you. More on that in a minute. So let's get into it. Hello, I am Rob Judge. And most of you know me from the dating advice world. I spent a lot of years helping men understand women, attraction, chemistry, texting, all the stuff that holds most guys back from dating the women that they really want. But what a lot of people don't know, or what might not realize, is that I've been happily married for almost 5 years now. And this matters. Because when your marriage is good, your whole life, it just feels stronger, right? You feel sharper, you're more motivated, you're more grounded, you're just more alive. And when your marriage is off, it leaks into everything. Your work suffers, your patience with your kids evaporates, you start substituting things for the connection that you're missing, stuff like porn, scrolling, working out until your joints ache, being a good husband as a performance rather than a feeling. And by the way, if you're not married, you're going to want to stick around anyway because a lot of what I'm going to talk about today applies to any relationship, even ones that are only a few months old. These patterns, they can start showing up very quickly. So whether you're trying to keep your girlfriend engaged or you're trying to reignite the spark with your wife, this video is for you. Because here's the big idea. The thing I need you to understand before we get into the 5 secrets, it's not your effort that's broken. It's your energy. And I don't mean that in some crystal and incense woo-woo kind of way. What I mean is this. Most guys think the fix is to try harder, plan more date nights, buy nicer gifts, learn the therapy speak, do the dishes without being asked, and then wait around like a golden retriever hoping for a treat. And look, I'm not against effort. Effort matters, but effort without the right energy comes off as performance. And women can smell performance from a mile away. Now, here's a distinction you need to tattoo on your brain. There are things that make you comfortable, and there are things that make you desirable. And they are not the same thing. You can be the safest, most reliable, most helpful man on the planet and also be the least sexually exciting person in her life. She can feel loved by you and feel zero desire for you. These two things can coexist. And for a lot of you watching this, they do. And the real shift isn't about what you do. It's about who you are when you're around her. I want you to write this down. Presence over performance. That phrase is going to be the backbone of everything I share with you today. Now, before we hit the 5 secrets, I need to introduce the concept that ties all of this together. I call it the present tense switch. Think about the early days with your wife, back when you were dating, before you'd even slept together, before you'd moved in together, before the wedding, before all of that. Everything was in the present tense. You were actively pursuing her, actively attracting her. You were seducing her, not as some calculated move, but because that's what the dynamic demanded. You were exciting, unpredictable, a little bit of a challenge, and she was captivated. But at some point, your brain shifted into the past tense. You went from I'm seducing her to I seduced her. And once you're operating in the past tense, you stop doing the things that created the spark in the first place. You coast, you get lazy, you run on autopilot. It's the difference between eliciting her desire versus just expecting it. And by the way, this isn't entirely your fault. It's human nature. We all do this. Once we feel like we've secured something, we take it for granted. You do it with your gym routine, your diet, your friendships. But when you do it with your wife, that's when things go sideways. Because here's what a lot of guys don't realize, but it's the obvious truth. She wouldn't have married you if she didn't desire and respect you in the first place. That was real. But desire and respect aren't a one-time purchase. They're a subscription. And you stop making the payments. Think about it this way. You're not a bad husband. You're probably actually a very good one. In fact, if you're watching this video, it means that you care. But there's a difference between a good husband and a desired husband. You've been so focused on being dependable, being responsible, being present in the logistical sense, that you accidentally domesticated yourself right out of her fantasies. The psychology of domestication is real, and it's not about your house or your mortgage. It's about what happens when a man trades every ounce of his edge for comfort and predictability. You became furniture, essentially. Reliable, useful, always in the same spot, but no one fantasizes about furniture. No one is fantasizing about their love seat. So the goal of these 5 secrets is simple. We are going to flip the switch back to the present tense, not by adding a bunch of new behaviors or turning you into something you're not, but by waking up the version of you that she fell in love with and giving him a bit of an upgrade. Sound good? Now let's get started. Secret 1, get off the script. Here is a quick experiment. Pull up the last 20 or 30 text messages between you and your wife, and go ahead, I'll wait. And I want you to look at them. And I want you to really look at them, because I'm willing to bet they fall in one of about 5 categories: logistics, complaints, check-ins, one-word responses, and maybe the occasional emoji. And that emoji is probably doing the heavy lifting for an emotion neither of you can be bothered to type out. What do you want for dinner? Running late? Okay, thumbs up. It reads like the transcript of 2 workers coordinating a conference room, not 2 people who are supposed to be in a passionate relationship. Now that's the script, and you've both been following it for so long you don't even realize that it's there, because you've had the same conversation 1,000 times. There's zero surprise, zero tension, zero anything. And here's why this matters. Tension is the lifeblood of attraction, full stop. You could have every attribute she wants on paper. You could check every box. But if there is no tension, she is not going to feel that spark. So, what does getting off the script look like? It doesn't mean acting crazy or being random for the sake of it, but it does mean breaking patterns. It means responding to her in ways that she didn't expect. If she says something snarky, instead of getting defensive or shutting down, which is probably what you usually do, hit her with something playful, something that catches her off guard. She says, "You never listen to me." Instead of the usual, "Yes, I do. What are you talking about?" Try something like, "You're right, but can you blame me? I was distracted by how incredibly good you look in that dress." Will she roll her eyes? Maybe, but I guarantee you she won't see it coming, and that's the point. You just forced her out of autopilot and into the present tense. Because here's the thing, you don't keep watching a movie when you already know the ending. You keep watching the movies that keep you guessing. You want to be the movie that keeps her guessing. Secret number 2, embrace spontaneity, kill date night. Now, this one is going to ruffle some feathers, but I need to say it. Stop planning date nights. I know, every marriage therapist and relationship blogger on the internet has told you that scheduled date nights are the key to a healthy marriage. And look, the intention is good. Spending quality time together matters, obviously. But here's the problem. The moment you schedule romance, you suck the life out of it. You turn it into an obligation. It's like scheduling fun on your Google Calendar. I mean, how fun can it really be if it's a recurring event sandwiched between, dentist appointments and picking up dry cleaning, right? Real excitement happens in the moment. Women especially respond to the feeling of being swept up in something. They don't want a Google invite to romance. They want it to feel like it just happened. This is why every rom-com has that scene where the guy shows up unexpectedly and says, "Come with me." And she goes, "Where are we going?" And he says, "Just trust me." That scene exists because it taps into something primal. Women want to be led into an experience they didn't see coming. So instead of, "Hey, Friday's date night, should we try that new Italian place?" Try walking in on a random Tuesday and saying, "Get dressed, I'm stealing you for a couple hours, and wear something you feel good in." She might look at you like you've lost your mind. That's the present tense at work. She can't predict what's happening, which means she's fully in the moment with you. And here's something important. It doesn't have to be some expensive or elaborate date. A last-minute drive to grab some ice cream cones and sit somewhere with a view, or pulling into a hotel lobby bar that she's never been to and just having a cocktail. The point isn't the destination. The point is the energy. You're leading, you're decisive, you're injecting spontaneity into a dynamic that's been running on schedule. And that's what makes her feel alive again. Think about it this way. Some of the best experiences of your life were not planned. They just happened. Your job is to create the conditions for things to just happen. And that's pretty much what seduction is anyway. Secret number 3, lead the vibe. Don't follow her mood. This might be the most important thing I've ever learned when it comes to women, and it applies whether you're on a first date or if you've been married for 20 years. You cannot talk a woman into an emotion. You cannot logic her out of a mood. Trying to convince her to feel something she doesn't feel simply does not work and will only frustrate the two of you. Most guys react to their wife's mood. She's stressed, so he tiptoes around. She's cold, so he retreats. She says she's tired, so he says, "Okay, maybe next time." And then what happens? He ends up being a passenger in her emotional world instead of being the driver. He follows her mood instead of leading the vibe. And here's the trap most guys fall into. When things get cold, they pull back. They give her space, which sounds mature on paper, but the problem isn't the space itself. It's that you're using distance as armor instead of using presence to recreate tension. When you pull back from coldness with more coldness, you're just amplifying the roommate dynamic. No one's pursuing, nobody's creating charge. You're both just existing in parallel. Two people under the same roof, performing the same life with the same sexual energy of a doctor's waiting room. So here's what you need to understand. The person with the dominant emotion wins. Think about it. You've been around people who are relentlessly negative. And you probably also have a friend who's fun and energetic, and that you always feel good after spending time with them. That's not a coincidence. That's emotional leadership. Their energy is contagious, and yours can be too. So if you're planning something and she hits you with the, "I'm just kind of tired, I don't really feel like doing it," Do not crumble. But don't try to convince her with logic, like, oh, come on, it's gonna be fun, we never get out anymore. Because that's essentially chasing, right? And chasing kills tension. Don't chase. Instead, bring an energy that's so infectious, so grounded, that she can't help but get pulled into it. Joke with her, flirt with her, be playful, touch her shoulder. Give her that look and say, I know you're tired, but that's exactly why you need this. Come on, trust me. And then lead. And look, I'm not going to pretend I nail this every time. I don't. No one does. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stop defaulting to reactive mode. Because when you lead the vibe, when you show up with an energy that says, I'm not rattled by your mood and I'm not going to let it dictate our night, something shifts. She feels safe. She feels led, and she remembers what it's like to surrender to a man who has a plan and he isn't afraid to execute it. And by the way, this is exactly what happens in the movie Crazy Stupid Love. Remember Steve Carell's character? I think his name was Cal, right? He's this nice, safe, predictable married guy. He walks around in New Balance shoes and he's completely lost. He's completely lost his edge. And his wife cheats on him and she wants a divorce. And what does he do? He sits at a bar night after night talking loudly about his problems. He's reactive. He's passive. He's following the mood instead of leading the vibe. Then Ryan Gosling's character steps in and he starts teaching him something that goes way beyond picking up women. He teaches him how to carry himself, how to lead, how to have presence. And the transformation, it's not some superficial makeover. It's Cal remembering who he was before he let the marriage put him on autopilot. If you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend you watch it. I mean, seriously, you should go watch that movie tonight. It's basically a 2-hour visual aid for everything I'm trying to tell you right now. Secret number 4, change her mood, not her mind. This secret builds directly on the last one, and it's a principle that is going to change the way that you communicate with your wife forever. You ready for it? Here it is. Stop trying to change her mind. Start trying to change her mood. Attraction is an emotion. Desire is an emotion. And emotions are completely illogical. You will never, and I mean never, talk a woman into being attracted to you. In fact, the more you try, the worse you're gonna make it. Because you're adding 2 of the fastest attraction killers in existence. You're adding pressure and you're adding expectation. And she feels the weight of your agenda. She feels you trying to steer her towards an outcome. And she will absolutely shut down. Instead, your job is to shift her emotional state. Not with words, with energy, with humor, with touch, with surprise. You want her to laugh when she expects you to argue. You want her to flirt when she expects you to sulk. You want to grab her hand when she expects you to give her the silent treatment. These are the moments where you break the pattern and you change the dynamic. And here's a personal example. There have been times when my wife, Adriana, where she's been in a mood, right? And my natural instinct is to try to fix it. Ask her what's wrong, try to solve the problem, go into, the knight in shining armor rescue mode. But I've learned that the most effective thing I can do is not to address the mood at all. Instead, I'll do something unexpected. I'll put on music that she likes. I'll come up behind her and just be close with her without saying anything. Or I'll say something so ridiculous and off the wall that she can't help but crack. And now her mood starts shifting. Not because I argued her out of it, but because I introduced a new emotional current that was stronger than the one that she was stuck in. Remember, the dominant emotion wins. If her mood is a 5 out of 10 and your energy is a 9, guess who's going to set the tone? You are. But only if you lead it. Only if you go first. And only if you do it without any expectation of what you're going to get in return. Secret number 5, her biggest erogenous zone is, all right, final secret, and this is the one that brings it all together. Most guys think seduction starts when things start getting physical. They think it's about initiating in the bedroom or escalating physically, but for women, seduction starts long, long before that ever begins. Her biggest erogenous zone isn't anywhere on her body. It's between her ears. It's her brain. This is why men and women experience desire so differently. For guys, desire works like a light switch. Flip, you're on. She walks by in a towel. She wears that one dress. It's instantaneous. It's visual and it's binary. Either you're turned on or you're not. But for women, desire isn't a light switch. It's more like a tempering chocolate. Now, stay with me here. If you've ever tried to temper chocolate, you know the process is almost absurdly delicate. You need to heat it to a precise temperature and then cool it and then heat it again. Just a touch. The whole thing lives within a window of about 2 degrees. Go too high and you destroy the crystal structure. Go too low and nothing sets properly. And if you rush the process, you end up with something dull, streaky, and completely unsatisfying. But when you do it right, when you respect the process and you give it patience, the patience that it demands, you get something with perfect sheen, a satisfying snap, and a richness that you can feel the moment it hits your tongue. That, my friends, is female desire. It's a slow, layered, temperature-sensitive process. And most guys are basically throwing chocolate in the microwave on high and wondering why it tastes like burnt shit. This is also why a lot of guys think their wife's desire is binary. She's either in the mood or she's not. But that's not how it works. Her desire exists in the gray area. It's in the buildup, the way you looked at her from across the room, the flirtatious text that you sent at 2 in the afternoon for no reason, the way you touched her lower back as you walked past her in the kitchen. It's in all the moments leading up to the bedroom that make the bedroom feel like a destination she actually wants to arrive at. This is why women love romance novels and guys watch porn. Guys are visual, women are experiential. She doesn't just want to have sex. She wants the whole arc of being seduced, the anticipation, the tension, the wondering, the build. And when you skip all that and go straight for the goal, she feels nothing. It's like fast forwarding through the best part of a movie and then complaining that the ending was boring. Remember what we talked about earlier, the difference between what makes you comfortable versus what makes you desirable. Now, this is where that distinction lives. Comfort is predictable. Desire though, is a slow burn that she didn't see coming. So what does this look like in practice? It means the seduction lives in your everyday interactions. Let her catch you watching her. Hold eye contact for a second longer than normal. Whisper something in her ear when you're at a party, then walk away. Send her a text in the middle of the day that said, I had a thought about you that I probably shouldn't put in writing. And then make her wait for it. Don't rush, don't push, just stoke the fire and let it build. You're not chasing sex. You're giving her the experience of being desired by a man who knows the process isn't a sprint, but it's a slow, deliberate burn. And remember what we said earlier, presence over performance. You're not doing this to get something. You're doing this because that's who you are. You're a man who desires his wife, and you let her feel that desire without any agenda attached to it. When she senses that your attention is genuine and that you're not just warming her up for a transaction, right? That's when everything changes. That's when she stops seeing you as a roommate and starts seeing you as the man that she married, the man who seduced her, the man who never stopped. Bringing it all together. All right, so let's bring all this home. Here's what I need you to walk away with. You're not broken. Your marriage isn't broken. You've just been operating in the past tense for too damn long. You stopped seducing your wife because somewhere along the way, your brain told you the job was done. But the job is never done. Desire isn't killed by time. It's killed by repetition. And the antidote to repetition is presence. Treat her like she's the woman that you've always been winning over, and you'll never lose her. The moment your mind shifts into the past tense, the moment you look at her like you've already won, everyone loses. She may not leave you, she may not cheat, but a part of her will always long for the man who gave her the experience of being seduced. And you can be that man again. In fact, you can be even better because now you have the awareness and the tools. Now, here's the thing. Most guys watching this are going to nod along. They're going to feel motivated, and they're probably going to feel motivated for about 48 hours and then slide right back into the same patterns. Not because they don't care, but because they can't see their own blind spots. And that's the real problem with attraction. The things killing your desire in the relationship aren't the things that you're doing wrong on purpose. They're the things that you don't even realize that you're doing. You may be making her feel safe, loved, and cared for, while also accidentally turning off the exact part of her that feels desire. That's why I created something I'm really excited about. It's called the Attraction Blind Spot Quiz, and it's completely free. It takes a few minutes, and it's designed to uncover the subconscious patterns that are quietly killing desire in the woman or women in your life. Think of it as a diagnostic. It pinpoints the subtle ways men accidentally desexualize themselves in a woman's eyes. The stuff nobody tells you about. The stuff that you can't see from the inside. And here's the best part. Once you finish the quiz, you get a customized, personalized feedback on your specific blind spots. Not some generic be more confident advice bullshit. Real specific insight based on your answers. Powered by my coaching methodology. The same stuff that's helped thousands of guys transform their relationships. Go to robjudge.net/quiz and I'll put the link in the description. And don't worry, like I said, it's free. You don't need any credit card, no strings attached, just honest answers and honest feedback. Because here's what I've learned after coaching thousands of men. Motivation doesn't run out. The conditions for it do. Guys don't fail because they stop caring. They fail because they can't see what's actually going wrong. The quiz changes that. It shows you exactly where you've been leaving attraction on the table. And once you can see it, you can fix it. Remember, you're her husband, and that's the most important role that you play. In some ways, it's even more important than being a father because your marriage is the backbone of your family. Step into that role with pride. Stop being her roommate. Stop being her buddy, her therapist. Be the man who seduces his wife every single day in the present tense. All right, and if this video helped you, hit that like button so other guys can find it. Subscribe if you want more content just like this. And do me a favor and drop a comment below telling me which secret hit the hardest for you. And as always, thank you for watching. Now, go seduce your wife.